Hello and welcome. Today we are still on the conversation around sales mastery and high value closing. If this is your first time of listening to the podcast, this is the third part. So, excuse me. So after listening to this, scroll back two episodes. Yeah, you scroll back two episodes, and you're going to get the fuller context of what it is that we're talking about over here on today's episode. So, in the part one, I looked at different ideas around sales and selling, different conceptions that people have around sales and selling in Nigeria. Then, in the second part, in the part two, I tried to set the right expectations to have if you're going to achieve mastery in sales. And please remember, for those of you who listen to that episode, that nobody becomes a master in sales. You never become a master. Mastery is something that we're always working towards. Now, even in other disciplines where people do get awarded the rank of a master, like in jiu-jitsu and taekwondo and all those things, you never stop. So yes, you become a black belt, but even then, you keep sparring, you keep learning, you don't get to the point where you say, okay, I'm an expert, and then now I stop. So, in that sense, nobody will ever be a sales master. However, the process of achieving sales mastery or sales growth or business development growth or whatever it is you want to call it will always be important. So, those are the sorts of things that we looked at in the first two episodes. Oh, excuse me. So, today we're going to look at what it means when we say high value. Because remember, this was a series of lectures or a series of classes that I gave starting on Monday, the 19th of January 2026. And it was about sales mastery, high value closing. So we've defined sales, we've defined mastery, we've looked at mastery. So now we're going to look at that final segment, high value, and then we'll also look at closing. So hopefully I should be able to do that in today's episode. All right, but before I continue, I'd like to say thanks to Knowles. She's a listener of the podcast. We had a conversation a long time ago, and unfortunately, when we had the conversation, I didn't take any minutes because usually what I do now is when I have a conversation with someone, I make some minutes, I make some notes, and then I send over a summary by the time we're done with the call. Now, the reason why I do that is just because if you get in touch with me in the future, I want to remember the last time we spoke, exactly what we spoke about, and so that I can assess, the level of progress that you are making. But anyway, so my initial conversation with Knowles was such a long time ago that I hadn't started doing that practice yet. But anyway, she called me up today because she wanted to give testimony. She's had a couple of challenges. Sorry, excuse me. So she's had a couple of challenges. She took the advice that I gave her to heart, and because of that, she's consistently doing over 1 million naira in revenue every single month. And to be honest, that completely made my day. It's to be honest, it look. I don't know. There's no other way of saying it. It just made my day. And it also illustrates what it is that I've been trying to say over and over and over on the podcast, and also with people that I have conversations with, whether it's a free conversation or whether it's a paid consulting session. At the end of the day, it all rests with you. There are people who pay money to me and who don't make progress. But then, meanwhile, there are people like Knowledge who had one free conversation and then listened to podcast episodes, put the thing in practice, and now she's doing over 100 million. I say 100, doing over 1 million naira in revenue every single month. Now she says that she credits me with that by saying that it is what I did that has helped her get there. The truth of the matter is, look, it's not me. I'm just a vessel. I'm just putting out some ideas. The real reason why she has made progress is because of her. She didn't just listen and listen for listen's sake. We had a conversation. She noted a few things down. She started applying those things. Now, unfortunately, I can't tell you exactly what those things are because I looked through our WhatsApp history and I can see that we had conversations. I just didn't note down what it is that we discussed. The real reason why she has made progress is her. And that's the reason why some of you reach out to me. You ask me, oh, if I drop this money, how much am I going to make? Like, it's not on me. How much money you will make is on you, not me. The best I can do is to say, sorry, excuse me, I'm recovering from, you know how it is now. So, the best I can do is to say, look, based on my understanding of the situation, I think this is what we're supposed to do next. And the best I can do is to stay on it to make sure that you do that thing that I've recommended. But at the end of the day, if you get any results, it's honestly, it's up to you. Some of you might think it's rude or something, but no, it's not rude. When I tell you that, look, don't ask me what kind of returns you're going to get, that the ball is in your own court. So the question now is, do you trust yourself? That is the honest truth. Dollars, apparently, she trusts herself. One conversation was enough. Listening to free podcasts, that was enough. And then over ₦1 million in revenue on a monthly basis. Now, I know for some of you who say, ₦1 million, what's that? Especially since, it's ₦1 million in revenue. So by the time you remove costs and everything, some money would have gone. But the thing is, you don't despise days of little beginnings. This is how it starts. Somebody who is doing ₦1 million in revenue nowadays in these harsh times, give another 3, 4 years when she becomes real correct, in her business game. How just and she builds a team around her. Everything becomes much more formalized, much more professional. Imagine the amount of money she's going to be making in 5, 10 years. Anyway, Knowles, thank you very much for reaching out. I really appreciate it. This was the kind of news that I needed to hear this morning. So thank you. I like that I'm making a difference. I'm glad that I'm making a difference, or rather, I'm honored uh, that I'm making a difference. So thank you very much, Knowles, for reaching out. This is a shout out to Knowles and any other person who is listening to the podcast. You're looking for nuggets about how to grow your business. Please just remember, it's not in perpetual listening, listening, listening. It's in action. It's in action. It's in action. That's the reason why the podcast episodes, I try to make them as tactical and as practical as possible. Don't just listen. You hear one thing, oh, that sounds like something I can do. Tomorrow morning, 9 o'clock, go and start doing that thing. Please. All right. So, yeah, high value. Okay. So, how do we define high value? Again, just to remind you, sales mastery, high value closing, series of lectures from Monday, 19th of January, 2026. So, eventually, we got to the point where we discuss what is high value. And I broke it down into 3 ways. Or should we say 3 ways or 2 ways? Anyway, so high value. First of all, you're in a high value situation if your product or your service has a high price, or if it has a high value, if you're selling a high value item, then usually you're in a high value situation. So, obviously, the dynamics of selling when you have a high value item are slightly different from when you're selling a low priced item or a commodity item. The dynamics are slightly different. And we will explore that in detail when we look at closing. Then, the second way that I looked at high value is when your product or your service has a high payoff or high reward. So there's some things that people buy or sell, they're not too expensive, but by the time the person takes it and implements it, the person gets a real good reward on their own end. And so, yes, we can use that to say you're in a high value situation. And then the one that we all know in Nigeria, which is, you're in a high value situation when you're dealing with someone who is a high net worth individual, as per the person has money, as in the person is paid up. Oh, speaking of high net worth individuals, for some reason, Knowles thought I was in Canada. Excuse me. So perhaps there's some of you who think I'm in Canada. No, I'm not. So I'm not just Nigerian in name, Abby, but I'm also Nigerian in location. I am currently based in Abuja. I used to live in Lagos. Yes, I worked in the United Kingdom for a while, but I'm firmly based in Nigeria. I am not relocating, and I have no plans to relocate. And like I told her, even if I'm going to leave Niger, I'm going to leave as a big boy. I'm not going to leave Niger, go to another country, and then start stacking shells, especially at my age. I'm not going to do that. When I'm a certified big boy and I have financial freedom, and maybe Niger don't tire me or something, yes, I will leave on my own terms. But sure, I'm fully on ground. So for those of you who think I'm in Canada, I'm not. I'm here with you guys. I'm here in Abuja. The same sunshine that is knocking you guys is knocking me. The same hyperinflation that is knocking you is knocking me. The same opportunities that you're running after are the same opportunities that I'm running after. So we're in this firmly together. So for those of you who think I'm in Canada, I'm not. If you think I'm in America, I'm not. I'm here, at least for now. So when I hammer and I have full financial freedom to just up and go and do whatever it is I want, yeah. Then I'll leave. But until then, let us continue. So, yeah, when you're dealing with high net worth individuals, that's people who are paid up, people who get money, then you're in a high value situation. So I guess that one is self-explanatory. What a high value situation is. Now, the final part of the title, that is closing. Because remember, sales mastery, high value closing. So we've looked at sales, we've looked at mastery, we've looked at what it means to be high value, and now we're going to look at closing. Now, one of the things that I told my students then, and I'm going to do my best to explain now, is this. Unfortunately, in Nigeria, when people hear closing, what they think is, I collect my money. All right? In Nigeria, most people, when they hear closing, what they mean is, I collect my 2.5, or I collect my 13M, or I collect my 250K, or however much it is you charge. So when the thing is in your pocket, or when the alert hits your account, that's when most people say, oh, I have closed the deal. Now, you are not wrong if that is what you think closing is, but you need to realize that there are two different perspectives to closing, or there are two different kinds of closing. Now, the one where you collect your money one time, you collect your money quick, right? That is what, at least in America anyway, they would call a one-time close. It's Tom Hopkins who coined the term. You call that a one-time close. You and me were talking, quick, bam, I collect my money one time. That's a one-time close. For lots of us who are in high-value situations, you are selling something that is expensive. There's a high payoff for the person on the other side, or you're dealing with high net worth individuals. The proper attitude to have towards closing is what Tom Hopkins would call a one call close. A one call close is when you close the deal small by gaining small commitments one step at a time. I repeat, when you are in high value situations, the price is high, or the payoff or the reward to the customer is high. That means it's a risky something for the customer, you know, or you're dealing with a high net worth individual. The proper attitude to take towards closing is a one call close. One call just means step by step by step. When I visit the person today, I will get them to take one small step. That's why Tom Hopkins called it the one close. The goal is every single call. For Tom Hopkins, a call is every single time you interact with a potential customer or with a client. So if I call the person, that's one call. If I go to the office, that's one call. If the person comes to my studio, that's one call. If we go for site visits, that's another call. So for Tom Hopkins, not just for Tom Hopkins, even this guy who wrote Spin Selling, what's his name again? I can't remember. But sure, that is the idea. Every single call, one close, one close, one close. Every single meeting, one agenda. Every single meeting, one goal. And you're getting the person to take steps one step at a time, small, 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 small. Now, one time closes, collecting your money, bam, one time like that. It is possible. There are people who do it for high value, like really expensive stuff. But honestly, it's a hard skill, and I don't even know how to do that. So I don't even bother discussing it or trying to teach it. But one time closes are more possible when you are dealing with things that are not so high value. So if you're dealing with a commodity item, you had better collect your money upfront. Like somebody was asking me about credit a couple of days ago. For the thing that you sell, it's not a very expensive item. Like, what are you extending credit for? Credit is dangerous. Credit is risky. People default. All kinds of things happen. It's not as if people are planning to run away with your money. It's just that things happen. So if it's not a high priced item, what are you giving credit for? I beg, one time close. Collect your money one time, 100%, and then give the person, let them go. So for the one call close or closing small, small. Okay, let's just put it this way. Forget the big terms. The way we should look at closing is you can close by collecting the money one time, or you just be moving somebody one step forward, one step forward, one step forward until they trust you enough to be able to transfer that money to you at the end of the day. So remember what I said. When you're in high value situations, this is the proper idea to have. There are too many of you who sell real estate and you assume that you meet the client today. The plot of land is worth 100 and maybe 180 million. There are too many of you who assume that you can meet with the client today on Monday, and then in 2 weeks' time, they will now transfer you 180 million. Even if it's, let's say, studio photography, and your session is maybe 250K per session, there are too many of you who assume you will talk to the person today on Monday, and then by Wednesday, Thursday, they will just transfer you 250K, just like that. When you're in a high value situation, or when you're in a complex sale, the proper thing to do is one step at a time, one step at a time. So you're a photographer, your session is 250K. Don't try and collect that 250K now, 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 now. Your first meeting should have a specific goal. You're trying to get the person to do a specific thing. We'll move it forward one step, one step, one step. Eventually, we'll collect your 250K. You're a real estate agent. You also need to break down your sales process into several stages and you move from step to step to step. The goal is not to collect the 180 million immediately like that. So, for the real estate person, perhaps the first meeting is let me get to know these people and see what they're interested in. Then maybe the goal is to fix an appointment so that you can go and see them in their office and discuss their real estate needs, whether they want to do home ownership or they want to do investment. Then maybe when you go to the office, the next goal is you're trying to see how they can come over to your own office, the real estate office, so you can start, at least on paper, you can start discussing specific plots of land or specific items in your portfolio that you have for sale. Then maybe at that meeting, the next step is you're trying to get them to agree to a site visit. You people will fix a day. But you see how you can stagger it: one day, one call, one meeting, one visit, like that, like that, like that. Then over time, you now collect the whole 180 million. So you're in a high value situation. Or, like I like to say, you're in a complex sale. What are the things that determine a complex sale? Number one is price. Remember, high value, the thing is high in price. The truth of the matter is, the more expensive something is, the more people don't just want to drop money like that, like that. The microphone that I used to record this podcast, it's a wired microphone. I just plug it directly into my phone. So I was in Ibano just walking by and I saw it, 5K. I just picked it up because it's 5K. What's the risk? None. There were other microphones there. There was microphone for 250. There was microphone for 450. There was microphone for I think maybe like 800. You know, one of my guys who does video for me, he has one of those microphones. It's a wireless microphone for 650,000. If you sell something on the 5K end, yeah, people just drop money and move. If you sell something on the 650K item, people want to consider things a little bit more before they drop money. If the price is high, yeah, we're in a complex price situation. Then next, also, the subject itself, whether it's simple or complex, determines whether you're in a complex sales situation. Now, the way I explain complexity is this: complexity is either the number of parts that the thing has or the number of things that people need to consider before they pay. I repeat, the number of parts that the thing has or the number of things that people need to consider before they pay. Wired microphone, 5K. The thing only has two parts. It has the head and then it has that cable. It looks simple enough. I drop the money and then I move. But then, wireless microphone, 650K, expensive. It has the microphone head. Then it has the dongle that will go into your computer. Then it has the recording thing itself. It has more parts. Then it also has more things to consider. The microphone, what kind of microphone is this? Is it unidirectional? Abi, is it condenser? Then the dongle. The dongle. What kind of dongle is this? Is it USB C? Abi, is it USB D? Abi, is it USB this? And then the body. Okay. How do we power this thing? Is it rechargeable battery? Abi, the thing has its own internal battery. Abi, you see, the more parts some of these things have, especially in relation to the price, the more complex the thing starts becoming. So that's the kind of thing that the microphone is 5K. Somebody will just drop money and carry it. If it is the wrong jack, well, no problem. I only wasted 5K. But then when you see 650K, it has all these different parts and all these different things you have to consider. It is then people say, oh, you know what? I'm coming. Let me think about it. So you're selling an expensive item. The subject matter itself is complex. There's a simple microphone, there's a complex microphone. For the complex microphone, especially since it's expensive, you're now in the complex sales scenario. The chance of you just collecting that 650K like that in one transaction is not as high as you think. Then relationships. When you're in complex sales scenarios, relationships are important. Now, relationships are important. Not It's not because people are looking for friends, though. It's just that in Nigeria, you know, times are hard, so people use relationships as a how will I put it, as a proxy, Abi, as risk mitigation. So when you sell expensive microphones and somebody's there chatting with you, it's not as if the person is looking for a friend. The person is just trying to figure out who is this guy before I send him 650K. So if you're chilling with a potential customer or client and they say they want to come and see you in the office, they're not coming there because they want to be your friend. They're building relationships not because they're looking for new friends. They're building relationships because it is a way of doing risk mitigation. If Yawa gas and they need to recover that 180 million, they need to know which office to trace you to. That is why if you're selling real estate, you know, the plot is 200 million or whatever, that's the reason why the person will ask you, where's your office? Let me pass through. It's not your face they're coming to come and see. They're doing relationship building as a form of risk mitigation. Now, of course, if what you're selling is inexpensive and it's simple, then what's the need? So, for the microphone that I bought, 5K, like whether I was a man or a woman, I can't remember. I just dropped it, picked it, left. On the other hand, if I was looking at one of those 650K, 800 and something wireless microphones, it would be a different thing. So let me think about it. Oh, by the way, let me have your phone number. So if I have any questions, I'll call you. That kind of thing. So when you're in much more complex sales scenarios, relationships become really, really important. Then the sales cycle. Sales cycle is the length of time between when somebody says hello, when somebody says good morning, when somebody slides into your DM. So the time between that and when they transfer the money, that is called the sales cycle. When you're dealing with something that is affordable and it's simple and relationships are not important, the sales cycle is very short. So for the 5K microphone, the sales cycle was less than 10 minutes. I saw the thing and I said, "Ah, who is here? Who is here?" They said, "Oh, hey, Jennifer. Where is Jennifer? Where is Jennifer?" Jennifer comes. So I'm interested in this microphone. How much is it? 5K. Is that the last price? Okay, this is the last price. Okay, no problem. Let me see it. Is it USB-C? So I don't know. We have to open the pack. So open the pack now. So okay, I can't open the pack unless you buy it. Okay, no problem. I'll take it. Just open the pack. Let me be sure that it's USB-C. Talk back and forth. She refused to drop price, or he refused to drop price. I can't remember. And then I just bought it and left. Sales cycle, quick and short. Somebody who's looking at one of those big ones, on the other hand, say, "Hey, this one is 650K. Yes, sir. What's the difference between this 650K one and then this 250K one?" The conversation will start. This one is USB this one is USB that, this one is this format, this one is that format, this one is this gigahertz, this one has AI cancellation, this one has this, you know, conversation, conversation, conversation. I'm coming. Let me think about it. Let me collect your phone number. I'm coming. I'm coming. Then the person will go and maybe do some research, check some other places, read online, something, something. If the person comes back to that same shop and the person buys that 650K microphone, you can see that the sales cycle in this case, might be a couple of days, might be 2 or 3 weeks. You come and check it today, you go home, you do some research, you call, you price, how much now? Will you give me last price, this, that, 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 that. Go, come, go, come, go, come. Maybe 2, 3 weeks later, you now pick it up. So when you're dealing with expensive items that are complex, relationship building is important. The sales cycle necessarily is going to be a big one. You can't just collect the money like that quick, quick. But please remember, these things are relative. Oh. So for somebody like Dangote now, for instance, if Dangote wants to start doing content production, he's a big boy. So I'm sure for him, 650K is nothing. So yes, Dangote can breeze through and say, how much is this one? 650K. So I give it to me. And then he will just transfer and then leave. So remember, it's relative. It depends upon the context. So these are some of the things that we look at, when we're talking about complex sales scenario, when we're talking about high value situations, and when we're talking about closing. When you're in a simple sales scenario, the thing is not expensive. The thing is very simple. Relationships are not required. It's a short sales cycle. You can do a one call close. You can do back, 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 and then collect your money. If the thing is expensive, the thing is complex, relationships are necessary, there's a long sales cycle, you will have to strategize and plan this thing well. So, one meeting, one phone call, one this, one that. See, for those of you listening to the podcast for the first time, let me use the same example that I always use. I use it because it's quite easy to understand. And that was me coming into the event photography space. Now, there were lots of my colleagues who are good at Instagram and things like that. I wasn't good at that whole social media game. So for me, what I liked was expos, bridal fair. I like being on the floor. I like interacting with the brides. That was where I had my chance of really closing deals. So, price. It's expensive. I don't know how much it costs now, but at the time, we were trying to hit, that's me and my colleagues. If we collected like 400, 450 from somebody, we'll be happy. Let me just put it that way. So we're selling services that on a good day were like half a mil. Of course, it's complex. Lots of things to consider. Frame, album, soft copy. What else? Then the flow structure for the day and where you're going to shoot, and then locations, and then stuff like that. So for me, this is how I used to break it down. First of all, You book yourself for the show and you go and pay the fee. Then you show up on the day. Then on the floor, you mingle and interact with people. That is the first call. That's the first interaction. You interact with people on the floor. You try and pull them back to your own table because it's a business fair. So other vendors have set up their own tables, their own corners. If you get somebody to leave where they are on the floor and come to your place, that is a one call close. I met the person here, and my focus is bring the person to the table. I have closed a small step. And then we talk, 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 talk. We laugh, we get to know each other. The next thing is I want to collect their phone number, preferably. I want to collect email address as a worst case scenario. For some people, I even want to collect physical address. See, that's why building rapport is important. You're talking to the person. Oh, by the way, where do you work? Oh, Federal Mortgage. Oh, is it the one that's close to ECOWAS? Oh, yeah, I know that place. My auntie lives around there. Blah 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 blah. If you have that kind of rapport with somebody, and you have that level of relationship as you're flowing with the person, it would not be too strange to now say, oh, okay, cool. I will be around my auntie's place next week, Tuesday. How about I just drop by the office and then we can chat some more? So it is possible to get a phone number, to get an email address, and also to get a physical location. So while I'm talking to the person at the stand, I'm trying to close on something. The thing I'm trying to close on now is I want to collect their phone number. If I can, I want to collect office address. There were a few people, very small, that I was able to collect house address. But if I get phone number and I get office address, I'm good. I'm comfortable. Email, I didn't like email because email is easy to ignore. It has the worst open rates. So one moment, I have to attend to something. I'll be right back. Just hang on. Okay, sorry about that. I'm back. Now, I believe when I went away, I was yeah. So my experience now closing things using one call closes to move things forward one step at a time. So, uh, okay, physical address, email address, phone number. So that was the goal. They're at the table now. So remember, step one is engage with somebody on the floor. Step two is bring them to the table. Step three is collect contact details. Then step four was after the bridal fair was over, because those things were usually Thursday, Friday, Saturday. Some of them Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Maybe use Monday and rest. Tuesday, start calling up everybody. When I get them on the phone, the goal is to secure a physical meeting. That they will come to my studio, or that I will go to their house, or I will go to their office. Oh, by the way, that's the part my wife didn't like. Because my wife is always like, why are you entering these people's houses? You don't know who they are. But anyway, it's just one of those things. That money will be fine. Well, of course, always protect yourself. So, where was I now? So the next step, I have them on the phone now. The next step is I want to secure a physical meeting. I'm going to go to their house, I'm going to go to their office, or I'm going to get them to come to the studio. That is another close. Let's say they come to the studio, or I go to the office. The goal for that one is look at samples. I don't want that meeting to end until the bride has pinpointed like one or two samples that she likes. If during that meeting she's like, oh, this sounds really nice, this sounds really nice, this sounds really nice, you know what, let me think about it. That's not a successful meeting. Before I leave, I just want her and her husband to be, let them like, oh, I really, really like this. Depending on the money, maybe I like this one too. If they can decide that, okay, no problem, very good. Then we'll discuss budget range, and then the next step is I'll send them proposal to consider. Then when I send them proposal and I call after that, the goal is to try and see to get a sense of to narrow down and to make a choice. Then we can start haggling, start bargaining, and all that. But you can see that for wedding photography, It was not a matter of, oh, I'm meeting this bride for the first time. Let me collect 450K from her now. No, 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 no. It was a matter of, okay, we've spoken on the floor. Let's get to the table. We've chatted some more. Let me get her contact details. I've got her contact details. Let us fix an appointment. I'll fix an appointment. Let us look at samples. We've looked at samples. Which kind of samples does she likes? Based on what we discussed, let me send her some numbers. Then let me call her and then narrow it down to a specific one that, okay, you like this kind of frame, you like this kind of book, you like this kind of this. Okay, let us all blend it and here's your final price. Then I now try and close. But the thing is, if I'm able to successfully move them one step after another step through this chain of events, then the likelihood of me collecting that 450K is high. If I'm not able to do that and the chain breaks at any point, my chances of collecting the money is low. So if I meet them on the floor, but I successfully cannot get them to the table, it's a problem. Because there's some people you meet on the floor who will say, "Oh no, no, it's okay, it's good. You know what? I'm still here for an hour. I'll come by. I'll come by. I'll come see you. I'll come see you. I'll come see you. Let me have your flyer. Let me have your flyer." Forget it. As you're giving her flyer, you've lost that one. You have lost that one because you are not able to close. You are not able to get her to take the next step. If I bring somebody to the table, no matter how sweet the conversation, I'm not able to get contact details. Oh no, don't worry, I'll be in touch with you. Yeah, is this your flyer? Is this your number? Oh, this is your WhatsApp number. Oh, blah blah blah. Oh, this is your email address. Oh, okay, okay. I'll be in touch. I'll be in touch. Forget it. You've lost her. You collect the phone number. You're not able to secure a meeting where the person comes over and then we start discussing samples. Then I mean, I hope you guys see how it works. In high value situations, when we're dealing with complex sales scenarios, it's a game of one step after one step after one step after one step. And now I hope you can see the importance of what we were talking about on the first day when we spoke about different conceptions of sales, when I spoke about how selling is a process and about how selling involves systems. If you make it a system, if you figure out a process that works, when things break down, you will be able to know where things are breaking down and you can make amends immediately. You will know that, okay, the thing is, I'm not skillful when it comes to talking with people on the floor. You now know that, okay, maybe next time, and that is what some guys used to do, they'll bring babes, fine fine babes to be navigating the floor. So it's the fine babe that will start the conversation with the couple, and then the fine babe will now bring them to the table, because you now know that, okay, my problem is when I'm on the floor, I don't know how to engage people, but once they come to the table, I can take it from there. So when everything is step, 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 process, 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 framework, 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 when there's problem, we can look at one particular spot and say this is where the problem is. Then we can now start brainstorming how we're going to fix this problem. So if you're good when you're on the floor talking to people, but when you bring the person to the table, you don't know how to carry the conversation, no problem. You will now know that, okay, this is the point where you will now invite your wife. Let's say your wife is more friendly. You now invite your wife that, okay, I'll bring them to the table. I'll leave them with my wife. My wife will carry it from here. Then me, I'll now go back to the floor to go and start looking for more people to bring to the table again. But when we systematize everything, when we make this thing a process, we can look at a very specific place and say, this is where I'm losing money. What ideas can we come up with to fix it? Anyway, so it's been 40 minutes. So let me just wrap up today's episode. So, yeah, that's how we started off that particular training session. Again, that was on Monday, 19th of January 2026. Then from there, I think the next thing we looked at on day two. Sorry, I'm just looking at all my notes here, my scrappy pieces of paper. I think it was yeah, how to sell in a tough economy. Yes, yes, yes. How to sell in a tough economy. Now that's a question that we needed to tackle then, because remember, you know how this our president, you know how Jagaban came in now. You know the gift he gave us with fuel increase and everything. So even after that fuel increase one from his first term, it's as if Every single year was a new shock and a new shock. We're dealing with all kinds of issues. So early on this year, people were already feeling as if, man, this thing is tight. How we go do it? Just to let you know, we're in a situation of hyperinflation, so the feeling is not going to go away anytime soon. We'll always wake up and we'll always be thinking that, hey, Omo, how we go run this thing? So we had to tackle that question because there's no how that you can teach someone to sell if the person honestly believes that Omo, things are too tough, there's no way we can move this market. If that is what people honestly believe, there's no how you can get them to sell well. None. So I had to even tackle that question. Things are tight in this economy. What you're selling is expensive. Is it even possible to sell in this economy? In fact, the last time I was on Nigeria Info in Abuja, that's a radio station in Nigeria. So they had me in as a guest to talk about how you can use sales principles to inform government policy. That's what we're talking about. So at some point, somebody called. The person was trying to raise their prices and stuff like that. We had a brief chat, and the show host now even asked me that, is it possible to even raise your prices in this economy? If you don't think you can raise your prices, if you don't think you can sell, then truth of matter is you won't. So we had to tackle that question during the training session. This is what all of you sell. It's reasonably expensive. Do we even think we can sell it in this tough economy? So that's the question that we're going to tackle next. And look, this is the simple answer that I'm going to give you now. Yes, whatever it is that you sell, you can sell it in this tough economy. It can be done. For those of you who don't believe me, and I got this test from, I think it was Gary Vaynerchuk who said it. Yeah, I think it was Gary Vaynerchuk. Gary Vaynerchuk was talking to somebody, the person they complained. So Gary asked the person that, do you know anybody who is selling in this kind of market? And the person said yes. Then Gary was like, so what are you arguing with me for? I'm saying the thing can be sold. You're saying no. You're giving me excuses. Do you know somebody who is selling? Yes. Good. So the answer is it can be sold. We just need to figure out how. So it doesn't matter what it is that you sell. I give you the same challenge. If you can look around and you see your competitors, last week somebody sold 1 unit, or today somebody has sold 3 units, or last month somebody sold 10 units. If you're seeing other people making motion, if you're seeing other people making progress, it can be sold. So that's what we're going to tackle next. Now, if you'd love to connect with me, just like Noles did, then you can call me, send me a text message or a WhatsApp message on 080 So thank you very much for your time and attention. I'll catch you all at the next episode.